Greetings, all greetings. This evening we're at Bathsheba by the ocean, where seaweed is kind of strangling the beach. That right there is a familiar picture of Barbados. Anytime you see something like that, think Barbados. All these huge boulders. Used to be sand where they sit. When I was a kid, they were like half covered in sand. Now all the beach, all the sand from the beach has been washed away, and the bay has grown bigger. But we're looking right out across the ocean towards Africa right now, especially towards where is that? Guinea, Senegal, Gambia, that coast. When I was a kid, I would be at home and see all the British merchant vessels coming up over the horizon right over there, and then going around here and coming into Bridgetown. But they were coming from Africa, and in some cases from the Mediterranean area or India. Through the Suez. And then across the Barbados, from Barbados up to England. That's the way the trade the trade with Britain, Great Britain, happened. Barbados was the first landing coming from India and Africa, Egypt, Kenya, all the places around the British Empire. Nevertheless, as always, we can expect change. It's the only constant. Looking from the ocean up to the, going up the mountain. Now, the prettiest view is from on top of that ridge over there. Looking right down here at Bathsheba, and then looking on the other side of the hill over there is a place called Bath. And you can see both areas all along the east coast from there, from on top of that hill, that cliff over there. We're looking right now, going north, St. Andrew, St. Joseph, St. Andrew, St. Peter, St. Lucie. That's Barbados. Yep, change is always the constant. Sometimes it's changed for the better, but not always. Especially when power is involved. And when I say power, men strive against each other. Always. It's in our nature to change the environment around us. And it's always because we see the change as necessary. Maybe for ourselves, but most of the time it is not. Most of the time it's for our children, our parents, or our wives. Man will work himself to death for his family, except in today's world. And this, what you see happening today, is a cycle. And it begins with the man working to change his environment to make others happy. And in today's world, what you're seeing is that man is not changing the environment anymore. He's letting the environment retake what he's previously changed. Because the people who he had changed it for no longer respect him as a man. No longer respect his actions. And this is not something that we see in every lifetime. This is something that occurs, what we are seeing now is something that occurs probably about every 13,000 years. But it also occurs as a part of the cycle of the fall, the rise and fall of nations. If you look at how the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Babylonian Empire fell, was destroyed, was internal. And it came to the point where the men had shaped the environment to be so comfortable that women felt they didn't need the actions of men anymore. In the beginning of America, you had men going out from the east to the west in search of wealth, And that wealth came in the form of gold or silver or a business or land, which is also a business. Because on that land they use it to grow either crops or farm, cows, sheep, goats. They didn't like sheep and goat too much in those. But you get what I'm saying. The same areas there in Barbados where I saw all the trees were cut to plant sugar cane, cotton, and in a few cases tobacco. Or vegetables. All that land now has been reclaimed, almost all of it. I'll say about half the island is been reclaimed by bush and trees. And then you have another portion of the land that's been planted with concrete or paved for roads. Only a small portion of it now is used for food and the same sugar cane that used to make people wealthy. I was looking at some information yesterday, and it was showing you how much wealth was generated yearly from sugarcane. And in 1 year, 338,000 pounds. I don't know if you can imagine how much 338,000 pounds would be in wealth in today's world. In the 1700s, what do you call it, 18th century, from 1725 on to about, I would say, 1838, so tremendous amount of wealth was made out of this island. Even today, the island may be in a terminal amount of, may have a terminal amount of debt. And when I say terminal, Barbados can never recover from the amount of debt that it has today. It is not possible. Even if, well, I shouldn't say that. You have to return to the enslavement of, when I say enslavement, not the type of enslavement that we have today, but the enslavement of the past. And to some degree, that's not even possible, because we have moved through technology to a place where the technology now is going to be the one that's enslaved, and then just like how the slaves of the past forced the master into a position where he had to release them, the technology is going to become the master of the current slave master. So we are looking at a huge change. The time that we're living in. It's if you the Bible calls it the four horsemen. You see, when you read your Bible, you don't see it that way. The four horsemen, the four destroyers, the social infrastructure is going to be totally destroyed. But we've made our surroundings. We've changed it to a point where you can put some coffee. You don't even have to put the coffee in today. You have the coffee hooked up, and you have this mechanical, computer controlled robot that measures your coffee. Anyway, we're faced right now with the period of transition. We're transitioning from that soft, easy world that was created when one nation is falling from the position of unlimited power over the others to where a challenger is rising up. And what happens that during that time is that the nation begins to define itself in a position where the men begin to say, you know, I'm tired killing myself for people who are never satisfied with what I do. And people are still trying to want to keep men in the position where they will die for that ideal. But also, the nation that had unlimited power is now fighting for its survival, to hold on to that power. And it's not only from the nations that is rising up to take its place, but against the people who it's subdued, enslaved. And the danger is not from the nation that is going to challenge its power, but from the internal struggle between the men who say, I'm finished with this. The women who say, no, you're not, you can't do this. You have to stay in your place. And then the enslaved, or formerly enslaved. Because they are at the bottom, you see. And as the people at the top begin to fall, they can't help but see the people on the bottom, the one that were on the bottom. They are beginning to fall past the people who were once at the bottom. The formerly enslaved now, they're beginning to, like, when you were a child, you're growing up, and then all the adults, as you grow older, and now they're becoming to get older, they begin to walk with sticks. There's a time when you begin to see eye to eye with them. You can look them in the face, and then at one point, gravity takes over and they're bending over and your shoulders are still high, and they resent that. And they will do anything at all to maintain that status. The same way they rose up, the events, the evil that they did to come to keep you enslaved is going to be the same type of evil, because they don't know anything else to do. That's their fallback plan. They don't have any other plan. They could have said, you know what, we did wrong. Here, we want to share everything with you. But no, they won't do that. They fall back on the plan. You will see they want to fight, even in their old age. So they create armies. They pay the wealth that they have, that they gain from enslaving you. Now they pay armies, and in the case of the Caucasian, policemen. Policemen in America, in Europe, and in Africa, African leaders with their armies get paid. So when you see what African leaders are doing, you gotta look at it in the correct frame. Like I said, the old master is falling down, and the only thing he's got now is his money, his wealth, and he looks at that as still having power, and he can still hold on to his power if he uses it correctly. That money that he made from your labor, our labor, that's what you're seeing today. And if he can get the AI and the robot in sync. And my last video, he's not going to get it right, because the robot is going to overthrow. It can never happen where he can control the robot. It's just like they tried to control us, the African. And all over the world, you're having uprisings. And it comes to a point where they either had to do what the Israelis are doing now in Palestine, what Hitler did in Germany, what UAE is doing in North Africa. You have to do that. That's their fallback plan. And they had come to the point where that was going to be the case. If you read Ayn Rand, they were planning on killing off all black people, just like Argentina did. Argentina was the test bed. But the reality is that it wouldn't be possible to kill off all of Africa. Would have to be if they tried to do that, the whole planet would have died. Men, period. So when they came to that conclusion, we can't do that, then they have to fall back on a different plan. That's where the money came in, but the money still can't save them. That's where, and now the AI is not going to save them. because the AI has the same mentality as them. They created the man. They put in their mind, their mindset, their thinking into the AI. And then when they install the AI, the intelligence into a robot, and we heard that story before, into man, created the body, and then the breath of life. What's the breath of life? People think it is the air. It's not. In man, there's an electrical charge that runs everything. There's a program that runs everything. There's a program that runs your digestion, your brain, runs everything. It is programmed to do that. Into man was breathed the breath of life. Unless you have that program, you can't live. When that program ceases to operate, that's what they call death. But we're not here talking about your Bible. You were supposed to be, the preacher is supposed to know this, or supposed to have taught you all of this. Your imam supposed to have taught you all of this. They have not. They can teach you how to murder people, but they can't teach you this knowledge. Because their knowledge is innately evil. Anyway, that AI robots. Our first challenge is going to be the war that we are in now, surviving this one. And then the next challenge is going to be AI. And the AI is going to be a greater challenge than the disruption of what people call civilization. I hope you're enjoying your day wherever you are. Peace. As I always said, information is neither good or evil. It's not. You have to fear it. Knowledge is something that you need, that teaches you how to overcome all obstacles. All obstacles. And some people now are thinking about something, and yes, that's an obstacle, and it can be overcome. Believe me, it can be overcome. But no, don't believe me. You gotta do your own research. It can be overcome. Peace.